Many people will accuse, you'll hear this a lot, the Bible promotes slavery. It does not. The Bible accepts the fact that when it was written, slavery existed. And then it taught slaves how to treat their masters and masters how to treat their slaves, because that was the culture in which the girl. By the way, there's still lots of slaves all over the world today. There's slaves right here in Southern Ontario. If you don't think so, drive by a farm and see if there are any white people pulling the stuff out of the ground. It happens here, but it's a part of the culture of the world. I saw a guy the other day. Actually, that's not true. I was reading the scriptures the other day where the people were arguing with Moses, with Jesus, and the Jewish Pharisees said, "We have never been slaves." I'm like, man, you don't read the Old Testament very well. You were slaves to Egypt. Right. In the book of Genesis. You were slaves to the Midianites in the Judges. You were slaves to the Philistines in the book of the Judges. You were slaves to the Moabites in the book of the Judges. You were slaves in Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar. You were slaves for part of Persia. The only people who have not been slaves as long as the Jews, that's it. The Jews have been slaves longer than any other culture in the entire world. But this is part of it. And by the way, I grew up in the West Indies. White people were slaves long before black people became slaves in the West Indies. Amen. My father is a descendant of white slaves, not black slaves. White people were slaves. Jewish people have been slaves. The Muslims have had slaves and been slave masters. The blacks have had slaves and been slave masters. The whites have had slaves and been slave masters. It goes on and on. But we're going to cover more of that. But this is what I want to show you, is that Christianity brings revolution. And when you read, you will find it was Christians who stopped the slave trade and fought against it. William Wilberforce, we're going to read a little more about him in our service today.